What is going on, you dead set legends, and welcome to Ready Bang, the #1 arm wrestling show on the planet. I'm your host, the Aussie Arm Wrestler. I'm joined by two absolute superstars of the sport that were recently at King of the Table. One was a special guest, one was a competitor, and one has a huge match coming up in February. Of course, I'm talking about Monster Michael Todd and Raw Power Lars Rorbakken. Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, happy to be here. I just finishing up my dinner. Rebecca just made us a bunch of protein and carbs, and the bread was toasting, so I had to finish it now. So,
mate, you eat as much as you want because you know the last few shows we've done together, you've been around the 115 kilos, and you've had to eat very lean and drop a couple of kilos. Now that you're a super heavyweight, mate, knock yourself out. I get happy, Michael Todd. So I'm ripping with that. Guys, how was the weekend? Looked incredible at some stages.
It was good. It was an amazing show. Unfortunately, I didn't win, but anyway, the experience was just great. The crowd and everything was a perfect show.
Yeah, a lot more contrast than when you two pulled it in Dubai. It was just a little bit quieter, I'd imagine.
a little bit quieter environment.
Yeah.
It was a great first time in North America. I mean, the crowd was crazy. The amount of people that wanted, photos, autographs, stuff like that. There's a big fan base.
Yeah.
That was really cool. Eddie Hall, Brian Shaw, amazing. I mean, just a great event altogether.
Well, let's dive straight into that. Before we get to your match, Lars, let's dive into it. I honestly think, and no disrespect to anyone else on the card, I think they stole the show. I thought Eddie was brilliant. Maybe went over the line once or twice, but I just thought 95% of everything Eddie and Brian did was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree.
What were the guys like pre-match up? I'll start with you, Lars. If you spent time with Brian or Eddie, what were they like? But leading up to the match, and what were they like after their match up?
Pretty much the same, but right for the match, Brian got pretty intense, and you can see it and meant a lot to him. Very cool guys. When you speak to them alone, they like everybody else, polite and knowledgeable guys. So it was, they're amazing. I hope they stick to the sport. That would be great for us.
Yeah, right. And what were your thoughts, Michael?
Say something else.
All right. I'll quickly say hi to everyone. You finish your food. Everyone wants to say hi, including the Armenian arm wrestler. Says hi to Monster Michael Todd, Lars, and the chat. We do have a poll going for Michael's next match. And Legend of Nelda just thinks Ermes might be a bit too much. Benji Mack is happy you two guys are here, including Joe Nelson. The Drew 24 saying Monster Michael Todd for the win. Coming up, which is good. Mark KDX Rider, James Clark. We've even got your own in the chat, Lars, from Norway. Is that far from you?
What'd you say?
Bayram?
Bayram. But Barum, yeah, no, it's the other side of the country, but been there many times. Hello.
Yeah. Beautiful.
So I thought the event, real quick, I thought Brian Shaw and Eddie, they were both real nice. I've talked to both of them quite a bit. Just seeing how intense and how serious Brian is taking, it's awesome. Eddie just was amazing. I had worked with him in 2022 briefly at the Arnold Classic UK, and he understood when I let him pull back pressure, and then I pulled him back up, and he understood the tightness of the strap and how, not even the tightness of the strap, but how to pull into the strap. I think Neil just really pounded that in, and he soaked it all up and looked great. The fact that he was stopping the matches and talking mad amount of crap during the match was beautiful. Brian, he's going to pick himself apart, make adjustments, come back stronger. So yeah, all in all, before and after, great guys. Before, after, during the match was amazing. But yeah, so I'm sure I'll eventually get to work with both of them if they stick with it. So Yeah, good stuff.
Well, that was my next question. I'll start with Lars. Out of the two, I mean, it's all good on the camera, at the end of the match. Yeah, we both love arm wrestling and things like that. But Lars, do you genuinely believe either Brian or Eddie will stick around and stick around in our sport, and in 2025 we'll see them in another super match?
Of course, it's hard to say because we all know that there will be bumps and hills and pains, and you have to get through that no matter how strong you are. But they look genuine, like their interest, both of them. I talked to them, both of them, like eye to eye, and both of them, like Eddie, he's just doing one fight with Maras Puchanovsky, that's his band, and then he will go and come back to arm wrestling. And Brian is all in, so hopefully we get more of these matches.
Yeah,
I definitely think we see a lot of Brian. Maybe not competing as often, but I think he set his sights another 3 to 6 months, so he'll have another match, and he may be more frequent. I don't know if he's going to try the tournament scene or any of that stuff, but I think he's hooked. Eddie, I was listening to his post-match interview. He said he likes it. He's going to stick with it, but he's going to fight, and then he's going to do he wants to do bodybuilding. He thinks he can do bodybuilding and arm wrestling at the same time. I mean, there's a lot of stuff. He said he got the bug, so we'll see. But yeah, I know we'll see more of Brian. I mean, it would take something really big to stop Brian at this point from continuing down this path.
Wow,
that's what I think. I think he's really committed to the journey and to the process, because he realizes there's so many levels. You know, so that's something that I think challenges him, and even makes him get a little bit more, tunnel vision, focused on the goal. So
I think the key is to match them right.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Rise the level slowly.
Yeah, well, who would you put them both? Who would you give Brian for his next match?
I like the idea of bringing Magnus Samuelsson back in.
Yeah,
that could be a great match. I have no idea how strong Magnus is now, but I know he stays in shape and he looks fit. And
so I don't know how familiar you are with Magnus Samuelsson, but I mean, obviously 1998.
We've all seen the arm break video.
But if you go, so prior to that, he was European arm wrestling champion at like the 110 kg class. So he has a lot of experience, but that experience is 30 years ago. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I like that match a lot because, according to Lars, Magnus still has a lot of celebrity status overseas, right?
Yeah.
So it can draw a lot of eyes that way. Although his social isn't anywhere near Eddie's and stuff like that, he has a lot of celebrity status. So that's a great match. The ones that we're talking about, Kirill, Sarcev, stuff like that, I think that's further down the road. I don't think they're ready for that. And I'd even like, let's say Brian had a different match, but Magnus wanted to come back. I'd like to see Eddie and Magnus.
Yeah.
I'd like Magnus. I'd like Eddie versus Magnus or Brian versus Magnus, because we don't know where Magnus is at. So I think that would be a good match for either one of those guys. I don't think we put him against an arm wrestler yet. Even a smaller arm wrestler, like a lighter weight. I don't think that's the right thing. Not saying they couldn't beat a lighter weight guy. I don't think that's the path.
Yeah.
What they did this past weekend, in my mind, once they release that to YouTube, there's a very decent chance that becomes the most watched arm wrestling video of all time.
Oh, 100%. I think it does. I really do. I'm with you, Michael. I think it does.
So why would you not do that again? You know what I mean? If there's someone else who could be a credible match, who has a similar celebrity who can talk on the camera. I mean, a lot of that was because of Eddie. I mean, Eddie talking smack was amazing.
He was great.
It really good because he's doing it mid-match. You know what I'm saying? The fact he's doing it mid-match and he's hysterical and he wouldn't let it go, and that part's amazing. So that whole match itself has potential to be seen millions and millions of times. So if that works, why would you not repeat something similar? Now, obviously, we're going to want to find out where Brian stands. We're going to want to find out where Eddie stands. But that's not something that has to happen now. Let's enjoy the ride. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the same for them. Let them get some experience. Let them get some confidence. I mean, just seeing the one round that's already on, like I think Brian's Instagram, where he holds on to Eddie's hand and pins him, and you see that mountain of a guy coming. That intensity. How do you not love that, right?
Oh, it was great. It went so much better than I thought. I think
it was better than everyone thought. I think it was better than everyone thought. Like you said, it may very well have stole the show.
Yeah, I think it did. Just a couple of quick comments. Everyone's happy that you two are hanging out together, doing a bit of training. James isn't as confident, saying they will not stick around. Zero chance. Well, two people that were Jamesy with him on the weekend. So I'm gonna latch on to what these two guys are saying. Quick question, Michael. Did you do any after pulling?
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Listen, so here's the deal. I'm not even doing many table sessions at all.
Wow.
I mean, I know how to arm wrestle. I just have to get stronger in the strengths that the things that translate to the table. You know what I mean? The last couple times I've had arm wrestling practices, I missed my pronation lifts the next day. My entire programming is, I mean, I have it on my phone. I do 6 lifts every other day. I have the entire from start to finish. I was going to finish on January 24th. Now I finish a week later, right? So I have every lift, boom, that I put a check mark by every time I lift it, right? So there's so much confidence that hitting these lifts bring. Getting on the table to arm wrestle, it just hurts my chances of hitting in these lifts, right? And I know what these lifts do. So yeah, I mean, Lars is here. We're not going to arm wrestle. I mean, his arms are tired anyway, right? So
yeah.
Corey will come Sunday. Corey and I might, because I'm far enough out. You know, Sunday will be just under 8 weeks. It'll be 55 days out. So Corey and I might get on the table and bang a little bit Sunday. But I don't see a lot of it in my future. I don't. I mean,
that comment's great. I don't know why. I think just like studying the brain of everyone, you're like, why should I do it? I know how to arm wrestle. Just like, it's like, what a cool line. I thought that was a cool line. That's all.
Well, the only thing that hurt me last time with Gennady is because I hadn't been on the table, I didn't know how strong I was. So I didn't know what I was capable of doing. So I played it safe and followed my game plan, which was control center of the table, hand peg to hand peg. So this way, I didn't care about this way. So if you watch the matches, watch every start in the strap that I hit backwards, right? All that is my pronation gauge back pressure lift. Well, there's 0 side pressure applied. I'm not even trying to go sideways. I'm trying to go straight back. Well, apparently when I do my pronation gauge back pressure, when I hit, it kicks to the side a little bit. So you watch every start and you watch Gennady's hand end up over here. This is me with Gennady's hand with applying no side pressure. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't go sideways at all. Round 2, after they called me for the false start press, and then I hit him outside, I'm this close to flash pinning me in a top roll because I hit with side pressure. If I would have known, I would have just put next match strapped up, hit sideways. I didn't realize that I was capable of that. So because I wasn't on the table, I didn't realize how much that pronation gauge side pressure and some of those other lifts would translate. So I had a lot more power than I displayed because, you know, I hadn't been on the table and had that confidence. But now that I know that, maybe I have a little bit more confidence going sideways on the start. We'll see.
Well, mate, we'll get to that bloody Ermes match in just a moment. Just a quick super match from Ethan Mods 11. Thank you. Michael, what did you think of the shape of Jerry? Obviously, we didn't see much against Levan, but how do you think he would fare against the guys in the top 5 right now? And I'd like your opinion, Lars, as well on Jerry Carteret.
I think he's strong as F. I just think when you shut down the line, you can't apply your power because I have a little bit similar technique. Even doesn't matter how strong I am, if you take my line and you know how to take it and you're strong enough to take it like Levan did, you look like you don't have anything. But I think it's small. If you had get into it, it could look different. But Levan was just too much. But I don't think it was anything wrong with Jerry's power. I think he was at least as strong as he was when he faced Kodacha. That's my opinion.
I mean, I think according to him, he was very strong. So that's how the match. Anyone who asked me, I told him that's how the match was going to go.
Yeah,
that's how the match was going to go. Like, the lane to beat Levan is not toward him. I don't care about in the past. I don't care about Ermes flop press that he did in their super match. That all that came from a back pressure start, right? You went backwards, he got flopped. Then once Levan is stretched out, then you apply the. I mean, it's different. It's completely different. Like, So that's how I'd hoped for Jerry, that he could get the stick one time. But so from that match, Levan's amazing.
Yeah.
But I don't have Levan ranked any higher after that match than I did before that match. He's the same guy. I'm not any more impressed with him, because you can't really be any more impressed with him than you already are. Dave Chaffee did the same thing to Jerry all throughout the WAL. You know what I mean? Ermes beat him with speed and strength, probably even more impressively than Levan did. You know what I mean? Levan was able to grab him with his massive hand and be low and high at the same time, essentially. But yeah, I mean, Levan's amazing. But that, like, my belief and faith and confidence that when I do get to that match, that I have the ability to stop the match, that was not deterred whatsoever.
Yeah, right. Because I mean, and especially with your style of pulling, you are pulling Levan away, which is
the thing is, in my opinion, not to cut you off, but Levan, in my opinion, has the strongest hand and wrist the sport has ever seen. And in my opinion, the only way to beat him is to beat the strongest hand and wrist that's ever arm wrestled. I mean, there is no other path. I mean, you have to go through his hand and wrist, and you have to do it in the strap. And I think you have to do it through an open top rope.
Love it. That's so cool. That's so cool. Just this new confidence. Thank you very much, DB Talks. I'm sure someone will get Barbora and Mindigus. Yeah, I'm loving. I'll get to your trajectory and your story in a moment, Michael. But Lars also had a match on the weekend, and as an Australian, Lars, I love you and we get along. But I was very happy Lachlan won as a countryman. But in all seriousness, even when you got the pin in round 4, I actually did get a bit worried. I did get a bit worried because I thought, oh, hang on, he's finally hit it, and he's hit it flush. So what happened in the first 3 rounds, and then in round 5, how come you just couldn't get there again?
I think it was a little bit too slow, or he was too fast, or a combination of both. But I was thinking the same thing, that he was starting to gas. I feel he was gassing a little bit. So my plan was to turn it around, and I feel I could do it. But obviously I couldn't afford one more mistake or loss. So then I lost the 4th round, and it was over. But yeah, I think it was close, but he was the better man that day, and I got some. What did I get? I think I had in down, but I got shoulder or something.
In my opinion, there were 2 bad calls. I don't think his shoulder went across the center. I wasn't in a position to see it, but I understand this man's frame, and I've seen him come across the center of the table, and I don't see him coming across this hand peg. So I think that those calls were. I have to go back and watch it, but from my perspective, those calls were not accurate, and those calls were made when he was on Lachlan's bicep, and Lachlan's bicep was fatiguing. I think there's 2 rounds that you don't stop that match, he wins. My opinion.
Okay.
Now, I think Lachlan's amazing, and he did everything right, and having Matt Mask in his corner helped a lot. Matt's he's like, he's coming in for the shoulder, he's coming inside, and then, round 4, he had told Lachlan what to do, meeting with that press, and basically just shut down that flop press lane. So they did a phenomenal job. I just hated seeing him hit his spot, and then the match gets stopped because what was, I don't think, was a shoulder across the center. Because listen, if he was across the center, then Rivas was like 1.5 feet across the center when he pulled him. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, so seriously, I don't know, man. It's like I said. Obviously, I'm a bigger fan of him, but Lachlan is a cool dude.
Yeah,
and he always, his training impresses me and motivates me and inspires me because I like his consistency. So it's hard to cheer against him. In that particular instance, I just would have rather seen those matches play out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, you're not technically cheering for Lars. You're just cheering for the match to continue.
Yeah, listen, just don't stop that match.
And let's see.
I don't even see how. I mean, I've got to go back and watch it because each one was him coming toward Tim Talmadge, who was the head ref. He's coming towards Tim Talmadge, and I just don't see how that crossed center. Maybe it did, but
There you go.
That was unfortunate in my opinion.
So then for you, Lars, would you rather have a rematch with Lachlan, say in February or March, or are you like, right, we've had that match, give me someone else?
I want a rematch for sure.
Yep.
Yeah. Maybe it won't happen that early. It's a little bit up to him as well, of course. But I think it was close. A rematch would be perfect. Perfect, yeah.
Love it. I absolutely love it. So, okay. So the rules, I just see what everyone's saying in the chat. We've got there, we all love Lars. Legend says, I believe Lars could have won if he'd King's moved every round. The pronation seemed to open up Lachlan's hand. What did you think of the King's move, Lars? Did you feel comfortable in it?
Maybe I could not. You never know. But Lachlan was strong. Yeah, he impressed. I knew he was strong, so I didn't underestimate him at all. But he was pretty good to staying tight, and they didn't panic and go slow to try to drag me down. So
Yeah, he was very prepared for both options.
Yeah,
he's very prepared.
He was.
And his ability to counter your Kings, in open top row Kings, whatever you want to call it, you cracked the wrist. You did what you're supposed to, but he was able to apply enough downward pressure to either open you up enough or to push your elbow off the pad in a losing position. Yeah. And it wasn't him pushing him off the pad. It's just he personally was no longer able to keep contact or whatever. But where his arm got straightened, I couldn't see from my view either, right? But it's a perfect counter to what you were doing.
Yeah, and he pinpointed some weak areas. So now Michael is helping me improve exactly what I need to improve. So when you lose, you learn.
Yeah, that's a very, very famous arm wrestling saying, as everyone's just jumping in the chat, having a bit of fun. We're here, guys. We've probably only got about another 20 minutes with Monster Michael Todd and Lars Rorbakken. They've got another training session today, so we've been very lucky to get this. One question for you, Lars. You start very open in the setup when you open top roll. Maybe try to get closer and fight for more height in the setup to protect.
Yes, maybe in retrospective, that's the thing I should do because he is low and compact. But when I pull big, strong heavyweight dudes, I like to be a little bit open because I'm very strong there. But with Lachlan's shorter arm, it was maybe not the right thing to do. Maybe I should stay closer and try to just go more and not stop the match. I usually stop the match and then go. Maybe that was a mistake against him, but yeah, hard to say.
Yeah, right. Well, then, Lars, just quickly going back to the Levan match. Once again, Michael's just hitting home run after home run with some of his comments. I've been a big fan today. But what was it just, do you feel Levan's just getting stronger and stronger and better at arm wrestling? Or was he just already above the competition and we're just not catching him?
It's hard to say. He's been pretty strong for a while. The thing I can say is this guy is getting stronger. Seeing him doing all his lift there and the confidence and programming him, going up every day. Actually, it's I'm so excited for this match. But of course, you're gonna have to go through Ermes first. But I think he can do something.
Right. So then, what would be your prediction for the Ermes match, February 15th?
I can't imagine Ermes beating Mike. No, I know Ermes is fantastic. I'm a fan of him as well, but I don't see the lane where he can beat Michael now.
Wow. And it's actually, Michael, 113 votes so far in the poll that I've got, and you are winning 59% of the votes.
How funny is this? Because when you did this podcast with Ermes, he was winning.
Yeah, it seems to be whoever I've got on the show. I think everyone's like, oh, yeah, Michael's cool today. I'm going to vote for Michael.
Exactly.
Maybe an extra 10, 15% for coming on the show. Couple of quick questions. We'll get in there. Drawd says, Michael, do you still do your BFR circuits?
Yes.
There you go.
Yeah. So here's the deal. People are only seeing me post my arm wrestling specific training. I still do a chest workout every week, which we're going to do a chest workout tonight. A back circuit, a shoulder circuit, an arm circuit, a leg circuit. And within those circuits, there's wrist rolls, there's flex grippers, there's rope pulling, there's rice bucket. I'm doing something all the time.
I love it, mate. And it's really dividing. I love how this match is dividing. Quick question. Mike, who do you think the crowd will be rooting for in Georgia between your match? That comes from Henry.
I think Georgians will be rooting for me.
Yeah.
Every Georgian that came up to me said, Georgia loves you. Your pictures are in the gym. We can't wait to see you. We love you. You know, whether that's an accurate statement or not, I don't know. I know the Georgian team has a lot of respect for me. I'm not saying they don't respect Ermes. He may have a closer relationship than I do. I have no idea. But the crowd and people cheering for you is great. But I'm not doing this to get pats on the back and have people give me the credit, because the credit's not mine. So I'm just doing this because I feel like it's my responsibility to follow this path. That's what I got.
There you go. Love it. Love it. Just sheer honesty. That's all you're going to get from Monster Michael Todd. Sebastian, my man from Norway, thank you for the super chat, says, super cool seeing Lars and Todd back training together. Hope all of you guys are having a good day. Thank you very much, Sebastian, you star. I caught up with him last time. I was there in Norway. Beautiful, beautiful country. Mike, have you ever been to Norway?
No, but Rebecca and I are planning on going for our anniversary this year in July. And my daughter is planning on taking her honeymoon and going there with us. So,
fantastic. Yeah, it's a beautiful country. You won't be disappointed.
Yeah.
Now, we're all excited, Mike. I probably more excited than most that you're taking on Ermes. And I think I'm even more excited about what you get afterwards. You get a win against Ermes and you take on Levan, because, you know, people, they siphon through all these podcasts, and every time we have spoke for the last 2 or 3 years, that has always been the goal. You number one in the world, that has always been your focus, and it's something that I've always respected you for, regardless of wins and losses and injuries. But how bloody good is it when you were getting castrated on the internet for beating bums and collecting trophies? You then rip your bicep off, and you are now 2 steps away from quite possibly being the first person to dethrone Levan in a super match. How exciting is this? Honestly, it is amazing. I think this story, and I love Ermes, but I think this story is fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, since the beginning, ever since I went through the ketamine stuff, I just felt like I'm supposed to show the world all things are possible through Christ. And, you know, the world, even now more so, think it's impossible to beat Levan. It's impossible. He's unbeatable. No one can beat him. Well, my job is to show all things are possible through Christ. So, I mean, I seem excited, but I'm very excited, of course. Levan is the goal. Ermes is my focus.
Of course. And I know if for some reason, if things don't go your way, it will always still be the goal. Win or lose, it'll all still be the goal. Have you found it difficult at all to, like, oh my God, like, if I beat Ermes, like, I should be training this for Levan? Or is it just, you know, good old poster of Ermes on the wall, nothing but him?
So the training, every bit of training is for Levan. Everything that I'm doing is to peak at my highest peak ever for Levan. But on the way to Levan, I have to prove myself. I've done it every time so far. I plan on doing it again in 9 weeks.
Wow. What are your thoughts on this, Lars? You have a great relationship with Michael. What's it been, over a year now? When did you do your bicep, Michael?
March 3rd. We're a year and 9 months.
Yeah.
By the time the match happens, it'll almost be 2 years in surgery.
Yeah. So, Lars, you know, you've dealt with injuries and stuff, and you're in phenomenal shape. And did you think that this was any sort of possibility when Michael first got injured?
Like, quite honest, for one point there when he was talking about Levan, I was thinking, maybe that's a little bit of a stretch. And then I see how committed he was, and he came back, and he was winning, improving, winning, improving, winning, improving. And for now, luckily to get the opportunity to see how he lives, how he trained, how committed him, how's disciplined, everything. It's so motivational for me. And no, I believe he can do it.
Man,
I do.
So do I. I think it's going to be great. I think just even picturing it, even if you just go on the Kings, I'm getting so excited.
Dennis, you know when you arm wrestle, maybe of course you need to have the skills and the strength, but one of the biggest parts is that you actually believe you can do it.
Absolutely.
If you don't, you can lose to almost anybody if you don't believe in yourself. And if you have a good day and you believe in yourself, this is my day, I can do it. You can beat people who are way ahead of you. Just in that confidence makes you faster, makes your adrenaline, everything.
Yeah, it is great. Guys, we've only got about 5 or so more minutes, so get all your questions in for Michael or for Lars. Get them in, and I'll ask a few of them before we wrap up. These guys have been great in between their trainings to help me out. Michael, my question for you is, being a special guest at an event and not competing, was it easier or was it harder? Because every time you're at an event, your elbow's on the table, you're competing, we all love it. But to then not compete, I'm sure it was a bit more relaxing for Rebecca. I'm sure she thoroughly enjoyed herself. But right. What was it like for you? Because you are a competitive animal.
It was cool to work everybody's corner, to just be there, have a good time. It was hard for me to not be here training. Like I had planned to be here training, but Rebecca's birthday's in a couple weeks, and she said this would be a fun birthday present, so let's just go, no stress. So that's why we went. I was happy I did go. It was a fun event to be at. I think a lot of people enjoyed, just the fact that I was there, so that was cool. I would have been happier had I been the one facing Levan. I know it was Jerry's shot, but it would have been nice to. So the cool thing is, and I've said this already, I think maybe to you, I don't know. This next event is in Tbilisi, Georgia. After I win and I get to pull Levan, most likely I will get to do it 5 miles from my house.
Whoa. That would be cool.
Right?
That would be very cool.
Can you imagine him doing that in front of his home crowd? That will be...
Well,
I'm a sports fan, so that shit is cool. That is the biggest
cool. Match thing.
I mean, we'll be less than a mile from the Walk of Fame where my plaque's at. It'll be...
Once again, congratulations.
Thank you, sir. Less than 10 miles from my childhood home. Less than 5 miles from where I've lived for the last decade. Less than 25 miles from the hospital I was born in. You know what I mean? Like, it's a culmination of an entire life's work. And
why has this all not been documented?
Well, we've documented everything, and there's actually been a couple people who have said they would like to, tell this story, but the story's not over, and it's not my story. I'm telling you, it's not my story. This is just what's possible when you believe,
Absolutely.
So,
that's on a smaller scale. I told everyone that I'd be commentating at the best events in the world with Neil Pickup at my very first podcast I ever did on YouTube, and I was able to experience that. I think it was when you two pulled, actually. Was Neil there when you two pulled?
Yeah,
it was that one. Yeah. So I'm a big believer in belief. Right. Couple of questions and everything, and then we'll roll on and let these guys go. Legend wants to know, what's next for Corey?
We need to get him a right-handed match. His left is definitely strong enough. He just made some errors in his attempts to get to the strap, He was strong enough. He showed it like round 3, going outside and slipping. His hand's so thick, all he has to do is just commit to rise up pressure and then slip. But he felt he needed to go flop inside to get to the strap. And Tobias, he telegraphed it. Tobias, did the same move that I do to flop pressers. Just flash pin straight inside, matched him in the center, got there before he could get to it. And so he's like, he wasn't worried about speed. The only thing I was worried about was speed for Corey. That's the only thing I was concerned about, because I knew power-wise he was stronger. So his left is obviously, it currently sits number 10, East versus West. And if he pulls that match different, if he pulls that match just slightly different, he comes out on top. You know what I mean? Just because all he had to do was get the strap. He proved that all he had to do was get the strap.
Yeah.
He just wasn't able to. Because and I think it was just a flawed belief that the best way to get the strap was through a flop rather than an outside move. Because all slips go to the strap. He could have slipped just above the pad and still got the strap. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he had a lot more lane, a lot more time to get to the slip than if you just tried to win this way. You know what I mean? So just an error in that moment. Right-handed, I know he wants to pull Zornov, which I think is crazy.
Wow.
But I would like to see him pull. I think you rematch him with Gerdetcha. Love that match. I like him pulling Sergey Kalinchenko. I like him potentially even pulling Morozov right-handed, because he has such an ability to hook right-handed. I love that match. In my opinion, Corey's right arm is probably top 20 in the world, if not higher. He just hadn't had a chance to prove it,
I like the Kalinchenko match.
I just did, yeah.
I like that one. Monster Michael Todd, comeback and Samushi's streak, probably the best 2 stories in arm wrestling right now. Everyone's excited that Ermes and Monster Michael Todd will be epic. My man Big Biscuit says, great meeting, both of you guys. World class. I think that's he's been training with Brian, which is
There
good.
You go. Yep.
Drawd says, Michael, would you say your sticking point is stronger than Devon's when he faced Levan? If so, you'll defo get a stop against Levan.
So listen, the sticking point is definitely, and Devon will tell you, our Kings move open top rows are just different, right? He has a longer lever. When I stick you, your shoulders, you almost have to come across the center of the table to get to me now. Just because I have a better sticking point does not mean I stop the match. I have to have the same ability to apply the same amount of pressure or greater than what Devon did into Levan's fingers and into his wrist through the strap. That's what's going to stop the match. It's not my sticking point at the base. I can't just let this dude fire off of me just to bleed that. Boom, I'm not sticking right here. That shit has to happen from the start. I have to be in his hand enough, pulling in the strap enough that when they hit, boom, and then it stops. I can't just, if I don't have any pressure in his hand, I'm not stopping him. You know what I mean? But that's what pronation gauge back pressure through the strap is. Anyone who's ever been here and tried to grab that, wrap that around your thumb, then wrap it on your wrist, the first thing it does is like this. It turns you directly into the hook. The supination that it applies towards you is insane. So, boom, that pronation gauge back pressure through the strap is exactly mimics how I pull through the strap in a match.
There you go. What a bloody answer there. Megatron wants to know, Hecka, have you ever thought of making your own smelling salts brand?
I have. Did not know how. A gentleman approached Rebecca this weekend, and she introduced me to him about getting a place. There's a place like maybe Southern Missouri that does a great job. Misha wants us to play. Does a great job, doing smelly salts and then white label them for whoever wants them, So I believe in smelling salts. I like them. Get a little bit more hyped up, a little bit more focused. But yeah, I thought about it. There's a lot of things like that I would like to have. Just because it's another way to be entrepreneurial or whatever, and have a little bit extra income coming in.
Of course.
You
Anytime you get extra income, it is fantastic. Michael, how good did it feel to crack Gennadi's wrist back?
Well, real good, especially in his pre-match interviews that he said his bicep may not be 100%, but his wrist is stronger than ever.
There you go.
The fact that was his statement, and that's the thing that he lost every round, led me to believe that the work that I'm doing is the right work.
Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. I reckon we'll wrap it up there, guys, because we've been going 40 minutes. These guys are going to go massive. Everyone wish Lars on his next match. He wants the rematch with Lachlan Adair, and I'll tell you what, I would bloody pay my money to see that match again. And then, of course, February 15th, the link for the pay-per-view. It's the same bloody link every time. Stop asking, here, can you buy the pay-per-view? It's been the same link for 3 years. And it's in the description. If you want to see the monster Michael Todd continue the story, we'll call it the story, on his march to Levan. It starts with Ermes Gasparini, February 15th. Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time and joining the show.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks.
There you go.